Yeah, that's a messy data center. That's awful. Where, yeah. And then there's this T-shirt. What I usually do is I'll wear the shirt.
Long sleeve.
Yeah. I'll wear
Wow, we went all out.
How much more does it cost for this long sleeve?
I'm sure at least $10
Okay.
per sleeve.
And I'll wear the shirt from the last conference at the next conference because that's like really cool.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to wear the college sweatshirt from your own college. You want to wear it from some other school. How are we doing on time?
All right, let's just go ahead and get started.
Right.
So I'm Brandy Moore, New York City Owasp Chapter. So welcome all of you. Thank you for joining us today. This is Garth Bruen. I'm going to let Garth introduce himself because I think it's kind of stale to read it out of the program, but he does have a bio in the program. During his talk, I must remind you, please turn your cell phones off and shut up. So be nice. And that's it.
I wouldn't. You don't have to scare them too much. They look like nice people. My name is Garth Bruen, and I am the CEO of newjohn.com. And if you're trying to figure out what this name means, it's just no junk backwards. And the theory being that we can reverse the flow of junk. There we go. Oops. All right. What is this presentation going to cover? We're going to answer the question, what is New John, aside from what does the name mean? Very, very critical and curious question, why are we still getting spam? And this is very interesting is you look at the presentations at different venues, you don't see a lot of spam presentations anymore. The topic is kind of just fallen away. I think a lot of people have given up on it. And that's unfortunate. We want to talk about the motivations rather than the specific software. We want to talk about what's driving and enabling the problem. We're going to take a quick look at the eCrook toolbox in this little world. We're going to take a look at the failed policy structure that's allowing all this to take place. And we're going to look at what's working and what isn't working. And finally, we have a few proposals that hopefully everybody can jump on. Like I said, it's no junk backwards. And we fight spam with information and policy enforcement automation. Who are we? It's me and my father, Dr. Robert Bruen, who worked at MIT's Jet Propulsion Lab, Nuclear Propulsion Lab, Aerospace Lab. He bores the hell out of me with all this stuff, but you know, he knows more than I could ever possibly learn, and I've gotten all my tricks from him. We're located in Boston and Wilmington. We started opening the project up to people in 2005. We have over 70,000 confirmed illicit domain terminations, about 400,000 possible unconfirmed terminations. Sometimes the site gets shut down. Nobody's going to tell you who was responsible for the, who created the impetus to do that. And people aren't going to call us up and say, yeah, you shut down my site. 50,000 pending suspensions within the next month or so. We accept about 30,000 junk samples from the public each day. It's completely free. Anybody can submit junk mail to us in any country, at any amount. We issue detailed reports to members. There are several different levels of membership. You can sign up and get a report from us weekly telling us what we did with the junk mail that you sent us. And then we engage the industry and government and academia to re-examine the problem. We gather detailed data on illicit networks, and we test it. We use information to test the internet policy and find out where the breakpoints and bottlenecks are. So we find out what the existing policy is, and then we just bang on it until it breaks. And usually what happens is some administrator somewhere says, stop, stop, stop. So we file thousands of complaints against non-compliant sites, and we follow up constantly. We challenge a lot of misconceptions that are held by the public and some false information that the media reports. And we make direct connections between spam, illicit sites, registration forgery, and counterfeit products. The curious question, why are we still getting spam? Not the question, why is it getting through my filter? Or why does my ISP allow me to get it? But why is it there in the first place? Money's the motivation. Spammers are mercenaries. They're hired by other groups to sell products. The weak policy and lack of oversight, they create a permissive environment where this kind of activity can blossom uncontested. And technology is delivering the problem on a very, very massive and rapid scale. Criminal groups are pushing fake pills and other illicit products. They pay the spammers to send the junk mail to you that advertises these sites that sell these products. They've developed software of their own that registers and populates thousands of illicit sites immediately and then moves them somewhere else when they get found out. The registrars and ISPs have very lax oversight. They tolerate the illicit sites, and they allow a lot of false data to sit out there to confuse people. And unfortunately, the governing body, ICANN, is not enforcing its mandated policies on the people that have contracts with them. And we're going to get into very specific detail about that. What are some of the categories that are popping up? Diverted, counterfeit, and fake pharmaceuticals. That's number one. I'd say that that's 80 to 90% of the junk mail traffic that we see and the illicit sites that we shut down. Okay? And there's a difference between the three. The diverted product is a real thing. It was supposed to go to a third world or lesser market where it was going to be sold at a lower price. It was then rerouted back to the United States and sold at a higher price. Counterfeit products, people are making fake pills with the real ingredients in them, not always the right amount of the real ingredients. They're not made in sterile environments. People get sick, and they get sicker because they're not getting the full dosage that they're supposed to. Then we've got outright fake pharmaceuticals. We've got flour that's pressed to look like pills. Highway paint has shown up, chalk. I mean, all kinds of nasty stuff has shown up in these completely fake pills. One of the most disgusting things that they do to make these fake pills is they'll buy the real product and then they grind it up with their hands. And then they'll mix it with other stuff, with other fillers, and then just use regular paint to make it look blue or yellow or green. Pirated software is huge. That's so easy. I mean, they're not even sending you the discs anymore. They're just telling you to go to a site to download the pirated software. Very low overhead. Knockoff consumer goods, huge. This has taken off in the past 10 years. And it's not just the luxury products anymore. It's pretty much anything that you can think of, anything that a consumer would want, where there might be a price differential or, there's a lack of supply. They're filling that. And then imaginary lending institutions. This one has actually dropped off quite a bit. I mean, we're all aware of the huge mortgage issues that we're dealing with right now and a lot of the financial industry fallout. Last year, this one was really, really big. I saw a lot of fake mortgage institution sites out there. I think they got in there quick when the market was up. They got their money, and then they disappeared. What are the economic factors that are driving this problem? Okay? Last year, Consumer Reports did this excellent survey, and they found out that over half a million people were purchasing at least one item sold in spam in a single month. Okay? I mean, think about how much money that. If the average unit is $7, this is what they're taking home, and their overhead is low because it's hijacked or it's fake. And they can make a lot of money each year doing this. And these are just the people that were surveyed and just the people who answered honestly. I think the problem is actually much, much bigger. And you're going to find that a lot of consumers actually want these fake products, and they don't understand how they can be harmed by them. So this is really the crux of the issue. Well, the rest of us are very smart, and we're using firewalls and virus scanners and all this other protection, and we're streetwise. Everyone else who falls for these scams, who follows through with the emails, they're keeping the spammers employed, and they're endangering the rest of us. What are the tools of the trade? Malware, botnet, spam, bulk registrations, content deployment scripts where they can just throw up thousands of identical sites and then make them disappear when they have to. Registration forgery is a big part of this, and it's so easy to do. Proxy services and secrecy within the industry. Very, very clear connections between pornography, drugs, and malware, okay? Recently, we got a bunch of sites terminated that were selling steroids. And then what we do is we go revisit those locations later after they've been shut down to see what's going on to make sure that they're still shut down. Most of them reappear eventually with some other kind of content. Those fake steroid sites were redirecting to this Wild Girls site, which attempted to force this malware onto the machine, okay? And it was actually very hard, you had to just completely cancel out the program. You couldn't close any of these windows. An ordinary user, they wouldn't know what to do, okay? The content of this site came from this other similar site, but this one had links to fake pharmacies. So we originally had fake pharmacies that got shut down. The redirect pages go to places where they try and distribute malware, and then the content is delivered from a site that links to fake pharmacies. Does anybody here think this is a coincidence? Okay, really, really nasty stuff. A lot of these fake pharmacies have links to pornography sites. The reason why is pornography is an old trick that still works to get people to download malware. And what was really disturbing is that a lot of these sites seem to have movies that depicted rape scenes and other kind of violent activity. I'm sure everybody's aware of this. These are the phony antivirus packages that are out there. I've been to people's houses where they have gotten this stuff on their PC, and it is really, really hard to get these off because they thought about this really, really carefully, and they blocked every single tool that somebody might use to remove malware from their PC manually. You can't get to the control panel, you can't get to the command line, you can't control alt delete. I mean, all the standard stuff has been blocked by them. The registry editor, everything. An ordinary consumer, no clue what to do about this. So what's going on here is we're failing the consumer over and over again. I mean, we're all very smart people, we're in the industry. Imagine for a minute that you're not somebody who knows what you're doing. Okay? We're placing huge and unreasonable expectations on the consumer, okay? You get a piece of spam, you don't know anything about spam, you don't know anything about the internet crime world. You have to decide first whether or not the email's real. Then you have to decide, do I want to do anything about it? If you want to do anything about it, you have to figure out where to report it. And then unfortunately, most of the time when you report it, you don't get any feedback back. You send it to the government, no feedback. Send it to your bank, no feedback. Send it to the ISP, they'll probably actually tell you to go screw yourself. All right? So the consumers are clueless, but they're very, very angry. They want a solution, but nothing's coming through yet. Okay? And unfortunately, the end users have historically been blamed for spam and viruses. Think back, what did you hear? Oh, you're getting spam? You must have signed up at a bad site. You must have gone to a porn site and signed up for something. Okay, later on, oh, well, you know what? You must have clicked on something, it's your fault. Oh, you must have bought something. Phony site. Oh, you don't have a virus or a spam scan package. Well, it's your fault. There's no responsibility assumed by the industry. It's really unfortunate. We've issued a lot of reports in the last 6 months, and they have had some amazing effects. I mean, and it's really been within the kind of closed circle world of the registrars and ISPs. In May, we released what we called the 10 worst registrars. 10 worst based on how many illicit sites they had, how much spam was directing people to those sites, how many false records they had within their whois, and their compliance failures. Okay, obviously they were not happy. We got a lot of backlash from these people. Okay, we were told anonymously to back off. Okay, we were contacted by several of them who said, "Look, we want to work with you to get off this list. We'll do anything we can to get off this list." So you have to drop this provider, you have to drop this customer, and then you have to implement these business standards in the way that you deal with the consumers and the public. And a couple of them did it. A couple of them said, you know what, we'd like to do it, but we just can't do it. And then finally, we actually finally got some action out of ICANN. They issued enforcement notices. They don't necessarily do anything. It was a big public display of enforcement. All these registrars are still in business, and a lot of them are still, pushing the illicit sites. Another one, we focused on what was the worst one on the previous top 10 list. This company called ZinNet. They were huge into the fake pharmacy market. So we issued a major report detailing their involvement in the illicit pharmacy market. Huge panic within the Chinese registrar community. Every single registrar in China was affected by this report about one particular registrar. They all contacted us through third parties because they were afraid that their English wasn't good and they wanted somebody to talk to us who we could speak to. The staff at these companies in China, they were told that they had to make the New John problem go away. Not that they wanted to fix what was wrong within their registrar, but they wanted to make the bad PR go away, and they had to figure out a way to make this go away. Techs told us that they would get fired if we didn't remove our report from the net. You know, I mean, I'm not really an ego-driven person. You know, I don't like to think about, wow, I can get all these people fired. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You know, I'm responsible for, you know, all these people halfway around the world getting fired. Result, thousands of bad sites were dumped. They had to clean up their act. Not that they've completely cleaned up their act, but they have to start looking like they are. ICANN was silent on that. Another report, we worked with John Horton of legitscript.com to focus on US-based providers who were hosting or registering sites that were selling Schedule III narcotics. Okay? We issued very, very detailed reports to every one of these companies showing them what was being sold, why it was illegal, you know, and why these sites had to be dumped. None of them dumped them. Most of the registrars ignored us, and they told us that, well, these sites don't actually violate our policies. Once again, ICANN silent. Registrars and mystery locations. We found 70 registrars that had no publicly disclosed location. Many were claiming to be in the US, but they weren't. Now, just let me clarify this. I don't care where you are. You know what? I look up a company on the internet and you're located in the Czech Republic. I think that that's really cool. I don't understand why people have to pretend that they're in the US. Behind the scenes outrage about this. Somebody anonymously sent us a big email thread from different government officials and different people involved in the community saying, what the hell's going on here? What followed was a mass update of the Internet Registrar Directory, but once again, there was no public acknowledgement from ICANN about this issue. Our most recent report, and possibly one of the most controversial, one called Phantom Registrars, Fake Pharmacies, and the Secret Infrastructure. And we worked with host exploit, Jart Arman. He did some excellent research on a particular company called the Trevo Intercage. We supplied a lot of research on S-domains, Directly, and this company called Privacy Protect. We found that 48 or more Directly affiliated registrars were shell companies within the US. They had registered in Delaware, and then the publicly disclosed addresses were mail drop addresses in Oregon. When we made this public, Directly freaked out, and they contacted every journalist, every webmaster, every blogger who wrote about this, and they pushed them really, really hard to take down this information. And they actually threatened to sue us too, if we didn't take it down. But they had thousands of fake farm and malware sites. I mean, they were just caught red-handed, and they were just doing everything that they possibly could to get us to shut up. What were the results? We finally got them on the phone, and we negotiated with them. Directly dumped a lot of the dirty resellers and their partners. They flushed thousands of sites down the toilet. They cut their ties with certain controversial companies. In this particular case, S-domains, their location, their real location was finally revealed. They've been claiming they're nowhere for years. They're actually in Eastern Europe. And then the criminal past of their CEO, which will be detailed in another slide. And then just recently, actually Monday, this company, Trevo Intercage, shut down. They disappeared from the net. And that's a good thing, trust me, okay? And then finally, this is my favorite. Directly made this pledge. They jointly call on the internet community to end the fake pharmacy menace. But they need help from everybody else because obviously the registrars can't do it alone. But we are going to keep them to this promise. And we're going to work through every registrar to make sure they either make the same promise or deny this promise. So we can say who's good and who's bad. Okay? what's really going on here? What's really going on here is that internet criminals have moved from being outside to being part of the infrastructure and becoming real stakeholders. They're registrars, they're resellers, they're ISPs, and they're other players. Blogs and press releases to bend reality, to change the story, to make the cops look bad. Bottom line, the drug dealers are becoming a silent hand of internet policy. We all know the drug money's huge, and they've got a huge stake in the internet, and they've got a huge stake in keeping the structure the way it is, because they're making a lot of money doing it, and nobody's paying attention. Criminal registrars specifically. Name juice. This fellow, Peter Curley-Lou, 2002, mail fraud in Canada. 2003, he was ordered to stop using deceptive emails. Dynamic Dolphin, Scott Richter, several different lawsuits, a lot of money involved, all spam related. And then, of course, just recently, S-Domains. Their CEO, credit card fraud, document forgery, money laundering. Okay? These people are the gatekeepers of the internet. They allow sites to become resolved on the internet, and they are criminals. And ICANN holds the key to this. Okay? Within their contracts that they have with all these companies, they can dump any of these registrars if there is criminal activity. Okay? They haven't done it yet. In theory, the term we've always heard is that the registrars are supposed to be self-policing. Are they policing themselves? Where's the compliance? We finally got an answer specifically about the phantom registrars and the phony locations, the mail drop addresses. Stacy Burnett, their compliance director, made a public statement. ICANN does not require the registrars to publicly disclose their place of incorporation. What? How can that be possible? All right? We're worried about authentication on our own networks. This is the global network. This is the global network. And they're saying that it is not within their policies or mandates to tell anybody where these companies are. More compliance issues. A few years ago, the General Accounting Office issued a major report, widespread inaccuracies in WHOIS. Ben Edelman from Harvard University, his testimony before Congress, WHOIS is largely a fiction. Okay? New John did a lot of research in this area, and we found out there is a direct connection between criminal operations and the phony WHOIS records. Okay? We built a process to verify the WHOIS records specifically for illicit sites that were advertised through spam, and then file complaints on them. All right? This resulted in tens of thousands of suspensions. The WDPRS, the WHOIS Data Problem Report System, it was created by ICANN in 2002. It's 6 years old. They haven't made any changes to it. In the internet world, in the world of software development, 6 years is a long, long time. During this period, the criminals have developed a lot of their own software which works much faster than ICANN's. All right? Unfortunately, our process has crashed ICANN's WDPRS 8 times since 2007.
What do you mean by that when you say your process is crashing?
It means that their database got overflowed,
So you're trying
and it went off.
You're trying to update the data.
Yeah, I'm trying to submit complaints to them, and it just keeps crashing. And unfortunately, when we flew out there in June of 2000,
The loading or the max record?
everything. Not enough bandwidth. You know, whatever kind of scripting they're using on the back end, it was just failing to connect after a while, and then a couple of times their database filled up, and there was just no more room. I mean, it's a weird thing to think that a database is filling up, but. And we flew out there last year to tell them that their system was inadequate, and this was probably going to happen. And they patted us on the back and said, "Thanks, we'll be in touch." And now they're actively blocking our process, and they refer to it as an attack. Okay? But meanwhile, we're trying to tell you that there are criminals out there who are forging and, you know, corrupting the system. You know, that's what we're trying to do. And unfortunately, we're in a stalemate with them right now. They're not returning phone calls to us or emails. What we want to develop overall with all this is we want to develop a three-prong approach and involve as much of the community, you know, as possible. And that means private and public. We want to fix the broken infrastructure. Okay? That's number one. Okay? We have to make sure that the system that monitors the internet for compliance is working. okay, and can handle heavy loads, because right now it can't. We want to eradicate the illicit traffic. A lot of people need to step up to the plate and join in on this fight, okay? The brands need to join in, law enforcement needs to join in, and the internet community needs to join in. And unfortunately, people are not pulling their weight in this area. And I criticize the brands a lot because they're not protecting their own identity. They're allowing things to be sold on the internet with their names on them that are just absolutely disgusting poison, and they're not doing anything about it. We want to collect and use public information, okay? And use is a very, very important word here. When we issued our top 10 worst registrar list, I got a lot of flack from different bloggers and malware researchers. They told us, oh, we knew this already. We knew that certain registrars were corrupt. This is old news. And I said, well, what did you ever do with that information? You knew it. What did you ever do about it? You telling me you knew about this since 2002, 2003? And just because you knew about it, that makes it okay? You got to do something with the information. Some of our proposals. We want to recreate the compliance system. We want to create a smart and proactive open compliance system that is accessible to every consumer. Because right now, it is impossible for the consumer to figure out where to complain about viruses or illicit sites. They have no clue, okay? Just like along with Directy, we're calling on the internet community to get rid of the fake pharmacies because that's a huge part of the problem, okay? And one of the things that we really want to do that might turn things around is we want to create consumer malware damage claim system. And what this would do is basically give people an opportunity who have had to pay for their PCs to be cleaned of malware or have had to replace computer equipment to submit their bills to us or anybody. And we're inviting anybody within the malware industry, any researcher to join in on us with this and just start documenting how much money is being spent by the consumers to their computers. And businesses could join in on this too. That would be great, because I'm sure that they're losing money too. And what we want to do is put a dollar value on it and then say which providers are the source of most of this. We may not be able to get any money back for the consumer, but this is a start. We have to start finding out how much money is at stake. We've got some upcoming events. Just this past Monday, my father was down in Florida at the MOG conference. We've got some meetings in DC coming up next week. We'll be at the Anti-Phishing Working Group in Atlanta in October, and then we'll be in Cleveland on the 31st at the Information Security Conference. And I am open to any questions, criticism. Just don't throw anything.
So repeating it, how are you guys funded? How are you guys?
We're funded by some very well-known and big companies. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. No, we have no funding right now. It's just me and my father and a lot of guts. It's kind of shocking to think about some of the things that we've managed to do, just by doing this out of our own pocket. With what we've done with no money, we could duplicate on a huge scale with just a little bit more money. So if somebody's willing to pay us to do this, that'd be great. But we really do enjoy doing it, and we think that it's important. Any other
So is
questions?
law enforcement taking any of your data and acting on the pharmaceutical traffic?
Yes, but I can't tell you who. I can't tell you when.
At least they're using your data,
Yeah.
though, right?
Yeah, they are.
So it's not, or not?
No, no. But unfortunately, I mean, in several meetings that we had, people from different law enforcement groups would say, "Do you have any kiddie porn? Have you found any kiddie porn?" And I said, "Look, the kiddie porn's it's disgusting, but it's not the money that's driving this problem. The money that's driving this problem is drugs. That's where you really need to look." Anything else? Other questions?
There's obviously some of the groups you can get connected with. There is a financial coalition.
Oh, yeah.
In there that deals with this. The CSIS has, with the recommendations for the next presidency, there's
Yeah.
a lot of venues by which this could be fed into.
Right. I mean, basically, what we're saying is we're getting a lot of data, and we're filtering it and sorting it, and then, when we try and push that data out to the next level, we're hitting a brick wall, and we're willing to talk to anybody who's willing to take that data and do something with it. That's it.
ESCA means
I think that they purely exist to sponsor illicit sites. I don't see much else there. And I mean, what he's referring to is this really long, rambling press release that S-Domain sent out. And the first sentence in that press release is a lie. The first sentence in that press release says, Delaware-based S-Domains, okay? They are not in Delaware. They are in Eastern Europe, okay? If their first sentence in the release is a lie, continue reading or believe anything else that they say. Anybody else? No? All right. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.